Hello viewers and welcome to part 1 of this '07 Mustang GT audio system upgrade. On this episode today we're going to be working on the Amplifier DSP installation. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take I got no love for the fake. He brought it over to us because the sound system in there isn't great. It sounds muffled and he wants to get this rectified. So we're going to start doing a couple testing over here to figure out what is going on so we can get him what he needs to enjoy his summer with this vehicle. Over here we have the 4 amplifiers that comes with the Shaker 1000. So 4 amplifiers to power 2 subwoofers. Crazy. I don't know what Ford was doing on this vehicle, but they're using 1 amplifier to power 1 voice call, the second one to power another voice call, and so on. So that's why they have 4 amplifiers for 2 subwoofers at the back. We did test it out and there's nothing that we're noticing that is not right over here. So now we're gonna go ahead inside the vehicle and test over there. All right, so let's do that, guys. Let me grab my flashlight. Here we go. These are the 2 amplifiers that power the 2 woofers inside the doors with the Shaker 1000 system. So 2 amplifier for 2 speakers. And yeah, so this is gonna be our next target now. We're gonna start addressing this. So these are the 2 woofers that are powered off of these amplifiers. So we got one here and another one over there. Now the speakers in the door there along with this guy, so these are 6x8 power straight out of the head unit, okay? And also the these 2 speakers on the deck are also powered straight out of the head unit, so no amplification. Okay guys, so we did have to take apart the door here just so we can check what is in there, the speakers, what are the specs, and we just double check on the subwoofer, on the woofers under here. That is a 60 watt RMS times 2 because it has 2 voice calls, and the impedance is 1.2 on that as well. Okay, this 6x8 normally has been replaced with some JL 6.5. So we'll see what we're gonna do with these ones. So I have on the screen here the schematic of the audio system in this Mustang. All right, guys. So here we have our head unit, and in the system we have 4 speakers that are fed directly off of the deck. The front right door speaker, which is a JL audio 6.5. The front left door speakers is also another JL audio 6.5. The rear right deck speaker, which is a 6x8, and that's a 4 ohm speaker, 25 watt. Same thing with the rear left deck speaker, also a 6x8, 4 ohm at 25 watt. Those 4 speakers are powered directly off the deck. Now, beside those 4 speakers, we also have 2 woofers in the door, and those woofers are dual 1.2 ohm, 60 watt per voice coil. All right, so those 2 woofers in the door are powered off of 2 amplifiers that are located in the kick panel. Okay, so each amplifier will power 1 woofer. Now in the trunk we have 4 amplifiers powering 2 subwoofers. All right, so each amplifier will power a single voice coil on each subwoofer. Now each voice coil on those subwoofers are 4.5 ohm and then 78 watt. So as you can see here, sub 1 voice coil 1, 4.5 ohm, 78 watt, same as the other ones. All right, so this is what we have in this Mustang. Now after doing all the testing, we noticed that those 2 JL speakers are sounding really bad. They're pretty much cracking when you play music in this vehicle. So we're gonna have to replace those 2. Now what we decided to do, instead of replacing with a 6.5, we're gonna put back the 6.8, which is the actual size that the vehicle came with. So it was downgraded somewhere down the road, but now we're gonna go back to the 6.6x8. We also noticed in the kick panel that the amplifier that is feeding the driver woofer is sending a very dirty signal out. first we thought maybe something is wrong with the woofer. We went ahead and tested the woofer on the bench and it sounded good, no problem. That's how we ended up testing the amplifier, and we noticed that the signal out of it was really bad. So this amplifier needs to be replaced, and those two speakers need to be replaced. Now instead of go ahead and replace those three components, what we decided to do now instead is just remove those two speakers and replace them. Now over here we're just going to go ahead and replace it with a 10 channel DSP, 8 channel of amplification. Okay, so those 8 channel of amplification are going to fit all speakers in the vehicles. Now the whole system is going to run through the DSP, and then we're going to amplify all those speakers. Now over here in the trunk, everything is going to remain the same. We're not changing anything here. Now in the kick panel, we're going to put each of those 1.2 ohm voice coil in series, and we're going to end up with a 2.4. Okay, so 2.4 120 watt, 2.4 120 watt. Here on the left hand side on my screen, we have the audio network of this vehicle as it is right now. Now over on the right hand side, this is what the plan is. The first thing that we're going to do, like I mentioned before, we're going to go ahead and remove these two amplifiers in the kick and replace it with a 10 channel DSP. Now once that's done, we're going to go ahead and break those three lines coming to the different component. So now our radio is only going to be feeding our DSP. Okay, so in the DSP now we're going to be processing the whole audio signal, and then 8 channel will be amplified. So with the 8 channel of amplification, we're going to have channel 1 feeding the front right door speaker, which is now going to be a 6x8. So we're replacing the 6.5 that are in there right now. Now the channel 2 of our DSP is going to be feeding the front left door, another 6x8. Channel 3 rear right deck speaker, which is a 6x8. Channel 4 rear left deck 6x8. Channel 5 and 6 are going to be bridge to feed our woofer in the driver door, and channel 7 and 8 will also be bridge to feed the woofer in the passenger door. Okay, so now we have our 8 channel of amplification completely fulfilled. Now the 2 channel left, which are 9 and 10, these are channels that are processed in the DSP, but they are not amplified. So we will be processing that signal and send over to the trunk, where it's going to be amplified just like it was before. Okay, so as you can see here, we did not change much in the trunk, except instead of feeding it off of the radio, now we're feeding it off of the DSP, and the DSP is going to do the processing for us. So that's the plan with this Mustang, guys. So I did this so you guys can easily follow along with the installation. Alright, so let's get to work now. We're going to install a 10 channel DSP at the front and 8 channel of amplification. So the 8 channel of amplification are going to amplify all the speakers in the vehicle, including the woofers in the doors. And the 2 extra channels are going to be feeding those 4 amplifiers to power the subwoofers. So everything is going to be controlled over the DSP. And we're going to keep this one here just for amplification. And it's going to be processed in the DSP at the front. Alright folks, so this is the amplifier rack that we quickly cut for this 10 channel DSP amplifier. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and put a bed liner over it, and probably, I'm not sure if we're going to have to put the HDPE on top of it, or we're going to keep it as it is right now. I'm not so sure yet, but that's what it is for now. Okay, so our rack is ready to go here. The DSP is going to go on there. We just put 1 layer of paint over it. The finish on here is going to be the bed liner, so we're going to go ahead and put a bed liner all over it, because the bed liner is also a good protection against humidity or water or something like that. Right guys, so here is the idea that we came up with over here with the fuse bracket. All right, so we decided to cut 2 pieces of this 1/4 HDPE. So we stacked 2 of them together to make the thickness that we need. So you have this bolt that is going through the first piece and then stop by the second one. That way the head of the bolt is flush inside here, while the fuse can actually sit flat on top of the second layer. And once we install it in the vehicle there, you'll see the reason of this shape. Okay, all right, so there we go. Let's try it on anyways and see how it's gonna go. So it's gonna go under there like that. Let me try to put it on with one hand, guys. There you go. So now you can better understand the reason of the shape up here. This is gonna sit on there like that, and then the actual bolt comes over it. Put it on there. Because the back is sitting against the wall, this cannot turn. It's very stable the way it is right now. Okay, all we need to do is just tighten this and terminate this side for the battery connection, and we can keep going over here through the boot inside the vehicle. So that's the gears that we're going to be using on this Mustang. We're replacing the radio with this Kenwood DMX9708S wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We're also going to be replacing the front stage 6x8 speakers with these 6898 speaker set from Kenwood as well. And the whole audio system is going to be processed and amplified through this DSP, the R1200 from WDX. All right, so that's what we got for this Mustang. So we're going to get to work here. Now I think it's time to go ahead and remove these two amplifiers here and put our DSP in there. We have our DSP rack here. The finish is not on yet. We're gonna go ahead and put a bed liner as a finish on there, and we also need to drill the holes to mount the DSP. But beside that, the shape is all done. That's the primer we have on there. We're gonna grab our signal off of this radio with the RCA all the way to the rear. It's gonna be connected to our DSP. Those are gonna be our 6 input here. Now in the DSP, we're going to process the 10 channels, and then 2 of the 10 channels that we process here are going to come out over here, and then this signal out is going to come on these wires here for left and right, and that's what we're going to send out on this harness at the rear of the vehicle. So we have the main harness here is pretty much ready. We're just waiting on we're going to make this termination on RCA and then cut it to length so it's fit on a DSP with these terminations here. This speaker level is going to go on the high level speaker output on the DSP, and then these ones here are going to go on the low level subwoofer channel of the DSP, which is processed but non-amplified. Okay, so speaker out, subwoofer out, they're going to go all the way through over here. And then the speakers are going to go directly to the speakers through this connector. And then the subwoofer is going to go at the rear to the factory subwoofer amplifier through this connector. All right. There we have 4 speakers and the subwoofer that are done. Now, the only missing here now is going to be our two woofers in the door. Because in each door, we have one 6x8 and one woofer. Okay. 8-inch woofer. So for the 8-inch woofer in the door now, that signal does not come back over to the radio because it is right from those 2 amplifiers that are in the kick panel there. So because the DSP is going to be mounted exactly where the actual amplifiers are mounted right now, we do not need extra wires for those. So the cable for those 2 woofers in the door are already there at the amp level. So all we're going to need to do is add some quick disconnect on the speaker output of the amplifier, and then use it to attach the speakers to our DSP here. So these are the Dodge connectors that we're going to be using in the kick panel to connect those 2 woofers in the door to the DSP. So those are the 6 channels that are going to be powered off of the DSP. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. So we're going to bridge so we're going to bridge 2 channels to power this woofer. Same over there, 2 channel bridge to power that woofer. So that's going to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 5, 6, 7, and 8 at the back. Those are going to fulfill our 8th channel of amplification on the DSP amp. And the 10th channel, like I mentioned, is going to be processed over here, but then sent through that harness over at the back to the factory subwoofer amplifiers. Okay, so I think right now we're going to go ahead and run our power wire over here to the front. I'll just remove this piece to have a better view at how we're gonna route our cable, and then our battery is over there. The radio is out. We're now working in the kick panel there. Right now we're gonna go ahead and mount the DSP rack and start routing the wires coming from the radio over to the kick. The power is already ran over there, so let me just show you here in the hood. That's our power wire. The fuse is under there. It's just the termination is down here, so it's just waiting for the connections. But beside that, everything is done. The power is terminated. It's just hanging there like that for now. So this is the rack for the amplifiers that are powering the subwoofers in the trunk. So you have 2 amplifiers for 1 sub, and then the second set of 2 amplifiers over here for the second sub. This is the Shaker 1000, by the way, if you wonder. Each voice coil on the subwoofers in the back is 75 watt. So that pretty much tells us that this is a 75 watt amplifier. So each of those amp are 75 watt. So we got 4 amplifiers to power the 2 subwoofers, which are 4 voice coils. All right, so that's what it is. So on here we have the all the harnesses for this rack. So the power, signal in and signal out for each of the subwoofers are on here. Okay, so that's what it is. What is going to happen now is we're going to be processing the signal going in here at the DSP level. So in the DSP, we will process it and make sure it gets what we want it to. And the signal is just going to send over here for straight amplification. And that's it. We have a DSP rack in the vehicle. All right, so there we go. Our DSP rack is in. It's all mounted. It's ready. Okay, we're going to install our DSP on there now. So at the back here, we have all the signal that we need to send over to the DSP. You have front, rear, and subwoofer out. All right. Okay. Somebody worked on this vehicle previously, and they did install this JL audio at the front, but that don't sound great. We tested it. It doesn't sound great at all. So I'm assuming the speaker just had some abuse, and it doesn't sound so good no more. So we're going to be replacing it and install these Kenwood. This series on these Kenwoods, man, they sound awesome. We've installed it before. This is maybe the 3rd or 4th time we install these speakers. They sound really good. So what we usually do here is hook up our DSP to the test station just to make sure that everything is working properly and the communication with the GUI software is alright before we go ahead and install it in a vehicle. Alright, we got our DSP installed. It's mounted on the rack. It's very strong, so that is a good mount for it. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and route the other cable up there. That's our door woofer connector, so it's just waiting for the male to be plugged on there. So we're gonna make all our connections down here. All right, guys, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna start prepping all the other cable. We have our signal harness ready to go. All right, so our harness is labeled. It's all labeled. Here we have a front. Here we have the rear, and over here we have our sub. Okay, it's all labeled. Same on the other side over here, we have our rear, sub, and front. Okay, So we're gonna go ahead and run it in the vehicle now, and that's gonna do it for our signal. All right, this is 6 foot length. I just want to show you this last piece, which is our harness that we have all prepared here. So let's show you the whole thing first. So that's our harness. Okay, so this end of the harness is going to be connecting to the DSP. Here we have a processed and pre-amplified subwoofer out of the DSP. That's the turn on. Here's the high level out of the DSP. So all of this will come out, and then here we have the door woofers that we had prepped here previously with our jumpers in it to couple our voice calls in series on each woofer in the door. So pretty much this side here is going at the DSP. So our DSP is going to connect on this side here. All right, so that's our DSP, and then this the harness is going to take it all over to the radio level. Over here we are behind the radio, and we have our radio connector, we have our subwoofer connector. So that RCA you saw on the other side, it comes to this harness here, and then here we have our power harness as well as speaker output. So the high level speaker out of this connector is in this connector, so this is where it's going to send it over to the speakers. And then the other ones are in here. These ones are going directly to the speakers in the kick. So the 6x9 go through these connectors, while the 8-inch woofers in the door go directly to the woofer through this connector in the kick. All right, guys, so that's our harness. Now we're gonna go ahead and route it in the vehicle. Send this one behind the radio and send it over in the kick to the DSP, and then we can make our connections there. All right, so let's get that done, and I'll take you over to take a look. Get you guys a view of the cable management in here. The way we routed the cables going over at the radio over there. The radio is out there. Our connections are done here. All the harnesses are routed. All right. So I guess it's time for us to make all the connections at the radio and start our tuning session here. All right, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and connect those to the radio, and we'll start our tuning session. We have our RCA's output of the radio connected, going down in the kick panel to the DSP. This is the subwoofer out of the DSP. And then this harness here has the 6x8 in the door and on the deck. The woofers in the door, those are right in the kick panel. So they're connected directly to the DSP in the kick. And the subwoofer, like I said, is low-level subwoofer is going in this harness over to the rear of the vehicle. And that's all the connections we have over here at the back of the radio, all right? We're gonna go ahead and start our tuning session here.
I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
Crossovers and
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take sh**. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love